Hi there, haven't seen you for a while. Well, last video about my racing was almost a year ago and it was full of plans for current season. But unfortunately plans are plans and life can be a little bit different, so for some personal reasons I skipped almost the whole season. I did just a couple of events. For example, at the beginning of the year it was some kind of endurance race, but unfortunately I didn't manage to film anything. And the second one, recently, a few days ago, I took part at some time attack event at Autodrom Most, but it wasn't so interesting, so I decided to make more like a track guide, a technical video. So if you do some real life racing or simulator, everything is the same, more or less. It might be helpful for you, so let's have a look. Okay, we are at Autodrom Most. I'm in my BMW M3. The tires are, I think, Michelin S8, pretty old tires for now, so they're almost dead. And I'm following my main competitor David in the BMW in front of me. I'm using a little bit of his slipstream, but my best lap will be the next one, so kind of fair without a slipstream. So let's have a look at it without my commentaries, and then I will explain what I'm actually doing. So, did you like it? Yeah, it was pretty fast, as for me at least. Well, and the lap time is not so bad. Okay, I have quite new fancy setup. I can scroll it forth and back. It might be fun. Okay, let's have a look. First of all, of course, you go flat out on the straight. Obviously, we are kinda racing, yeah. So, first of all, I would like to discuss with you something about the track limits, because I will be cutting a lot here, and all the people here are cutting a lot, because of course you have to discuss or following the guidelines from your ASN, from the organizer of your championship. Well, in this championship, the organizer is not so, let's say, concerned about track limits, so we can cut quite a lot. But I'm following my personal understanding of how track limits should be. I have two points, two things to mention. First of all, I'm not cutting the dirt, the ground. You see, I'm not going here because I don't think it's a good idea, and it's making the track more dirty. And the second thing, I'm trying to leave two of my wheels outside of a white line or of the curb, depends where we are. So I'm staying on the hard surface. That's it. First turn. I'm actually braking. My braking point is somewhere in front, between 100 marker and 200 marker. So I'm braking somewhere here in between them. I don't have like a precise breaking point. Probably it's somewhere around here, between this I don't know, ads or whatever, and this white marker. But as I said, I don't have precise marker. I kind of feel it. Yeah, so when you do multiple laps, you will feel it as well. So I'm braking here as close as I can to the curb, but not on the curb because curb is quite rough, especially if we go deeper to it. Later in the braking zone you can do it, you can go wider here, and I'm doing it a little bit, so I'm putting my wheel, I think, somewhere here. Depending on the car you can decide, but where the most braking part is, like here, yeah, of course you stay on a flat surface, and then you can move a little bit to the outside. Then of course you cut as much as you can. It looks like I'm going over the dirt, but I don't. What I'm trying to do between these two turns, I'm trying to like make the shortest line between these two corners. Yeah, so I'm here in the middle of the track, yeah, or kind of in the middle. The alternative idea is to brake more and to be on the right side of this turn, so to prioritize the next turn. I tried it, it didn't work for me because I was too slow. I had to be too slow here to be on the right of the track. So I'm doing something in the middle. So I'm trying to stay in the middle of the track, like here, yeah. Probably I should have been a little bit more to the right, but yeah, we have what we have. The next turn I'm trying to cut as much as I can, but without a sausage curb. These things, they're pretty rough and high, at least for my car. I don't go here. So I'm trying to put my wheel just on the edge of the sausage curb. If I draw the section of the road here, yeah, it will look like this, the cut section. This is the road, this is the sausage curb, and this is the normal curb. Yeah, sausage curb, normal curb. So I'm trying to put my inside, at least front wheel, like here. So just on the edge of the curb, so the right tire will be somewhat here. This is the car. So I'm trying to feel with my car, with the steering wheel, the edge of the curb, but of course I'm not going too much here. So I don't go here because the car will start jumping. Of course, depending on the car, you can do it, but I wouldn't advise, at least if you don't have some fancy rally suspension. So you can easily break your car here. So I'm going just on the edge, and from here, of course, we start accelerating as early as we can. Even a little bit before the apex, so somewhere here you start accelerating, and you are aiming for this green stuff to put your tire to the outside, like here. This green concrete part is not visible from the apex, but of course you know it, that it's there, so you are aiming straight from here to the outside. Well, the thing about this, it's very important not to, not to dance on the edge of this curb, because if we draw the section of this curb, the curb is like here, yeah. If you put your tire like here on the edge of the curb, on the outside edge, yeah, there is a high chance that the tire can snap down, and the car can spin. It happened to me before. It's not a nice feeling, so I wouldn't recommend. Yeah, the turn is not very fast, and there are no walls outside, so it's kind of safe. But still, you don't like spins. Yeah, neither do I. So you go straight to the outside. You don't stop on the curb. You don't even try to stop at the curb. You go to the outside immediately, intentionally, so, and then slowly return to the track. Of course, then we go flat out. It's easy. Of course, you stay inside, trying to make the shortest line here. I wouldn't recommend going on the curb. You can, but I think it's upsetting the car a little. And if you're going on the aggressive camber angle, it can be not very good because the car can be unstable, let's say. So yeah, I'm just going over this white line. Then the slight right, which is actually not right. We're braking straight through this curb. You see a lot of rubber here, so all people are braking here actually. So my braking marker is somewhere between this blue stuff and the first red stuff, so somewhere here I start braking. I wouldn't suggest like braking to the floor, because after this turn we have some twisty section, and if we overheat our tires here, it will be more difficult to show something after that. So I'm trying to be kind of gentle with my tires here at this place. So I'm braking straight through the curb. It's a little bit rough, but in general it's acceptable. So we're braking here, then we're cutting some of this curb. I mean, I'm trying to cut the whole curb. I'm trying to put my left wheel at the beginning of this sausage curb. Again, if we draw the section of this road, it will be the sausage curb, the orange one, and then we have a curb, yeah? So I'm trying to put my tire somewhere like here. On the inside part of this sausage curb, and the outside tire is like here. So something like this. Technically you can go over it. But the problem is that the return will be pretty rough, because the sausage curb is somewhat high. So if you go over here, yeah, on the return, you can upset the car. So I wouldn't suggest. So I'm trying to leave my tire here inside, like between. And some people saying that this place here is very rough for the car, they will jump there. No, you actually don't jump there, because it's unloaded side of the car. If we draw our car, this is the left tire, this is the right tire, pretty wide tires, okay. So actually in this turn, about up to 80% of the weight of the car, depends on the car, on your driving style, on your camber, etc., etc. Maybe not 80, like 60% of the weight of the car. It goes to the outside tire. They will be here, not here. So here the car actually goes easily over pretty high obstacles, so there is no problem with it. Okay, we go there. Pretty much the same thing here. Of course, I'm going here. I'm trying not to go into this puddle, because you see, some people, of course, they do. We have a lot of this dirt here on the road. I think it's a bit nasty move, but yeah, not a problem, but I'm trying not to do. Again, track limits here are pretty liberal, so it's not like forbidden, but yeah, I'm trying not to. But what I'm actually trying to do is I'm trying to use this inside part of the curb to rotate, to help rotating the car. What I mean, if you look at my steering wheel, yeah, you see I'm giving here more of the steering. Why? Because, and I do it intentionally, I'm trying to put my inside front tire like more with the side to the side of the curb, if it makes sense. I mean, I'm trying not to roll it straight, but put it like to the side, to grip the side, to hold the side of the, to catch the side of the curb, this one. So it helps rotating the car, because usually this turn feels a bit understeer. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, you have to try. Usually it works for me. So I'm using this side of the curb to help rotating the car. Then we go flat out here, nothing special. My next braking point is somewhere just after this curb paint. So somewhere here. I've seen many people who try to do late apex line here in this turn. So the point of maximum rotation of the car is here, so they brake later, and then they try to accelerate more straight, kind of V-shape. I'm now trying to do a different thing. I'm braking as straight as I can to the curb, and then I'm going inside, keeping the car inside. Don't let it go wide, because if you go wide even a little bit, like a half a meter here, you can lose a lot of time because the turn is somewhat long. So I'm trying to keep my inside tires like here on the outside part of the curb. Why not more? You see, of course you can cut here, but the problem is that the turn is pretty sharp, and the return here, when you will be crossing the curb back on the return, it is a little bit rough and it will be difficult to accelerate from here. So the kart might start spinning, etc. You don't want this. And as soon as you see the outside curb, of course you start accelerating. That's obvious. You can use this outside concrete patch. It's not always easy because it's pretty narrow, so you have to stay between the side of the curb, which is rough, and the dirt to the outside. Yeah, if you can do it, it's nice, but you have to be very precise. You have to be very, very precise. Okay, we go flat out, the right one, the left one, obviously. The next turn is somewhat interesting, because you know, the road here, the track, it goes down, like we are going down the hill. Yeah, so, and because of that, the braking distance of the car is a little bit longer than it feels like usually, so you have to brake a little bit earlier. And my braking point, I think somewhere around this corner, around the starting of this concrete patch. Of course, during the dry sessions you have to use full width of the track here, it's obvious. One thing to mention, after the left one, because it's a pretty fast turn, in my car about 200 kilometers per hour or so, maybe a little bit less, the car tries to go out naturally, yeah, inertia, etc., all the physics, you know. But if you go outside, you'll have to return to this part pretty sharply. And after that, if you return from here, you will have to return to the right and make here the angle will be somewhat sharp. Yeah, I mean, it's better to go smooth here to this point, to the entry point to the next turn. So what I'm trying to say, don't let the car go here too wide, too much to the outside. So your line should be more like this than like this, if it makes sense. So of course we use full width of the patch, and then we cut a lot of this curb, and a lot of people do it, as you can see by the rubber on the sausage curb. The only problem, this side is pretty high and the sausage curb is high, so if you go really fast the car will jump a little bit. With the right side, as you can see, the car jumped a little. It's not a problem in general because it's unloaded side of the car, as I said before, but the problem that it happens on the high speed, so the car is a bit pushed out by this jump. So you have to be careful with that. As you can see, I didn't use the outside concrete patch, but actually you can, so I could bring a little bit more speed here. Just be careful with this return because it happens quickly, so you have to return immediately. Yeah, so be careful here. Again, don't dance on the edge, it's never a good idea. Just try to be straight to the green, and then we go flat out, of course. The next one, you see, we still have some wet patches here, but the main line, the racing line, is absolutely dry. Okay, again, don't make the late apex here. Don't try making the white entry line. I'm trying to brake here pretty straight to the start of the curve. Then you keep the car inside. I don't go to the inside. Technically you can, but the problem is that the return will be problematic because you have quite a stable car here, because you will have the rotation car from the left to the right almost immediately after the exit of the turn. So if you start jumping over this curb, yeah, the suspension will be bouncing here a little bit, yeah, just slightly, but it might make the distribution of the weight to the next turn a little bit more difficult, so you will have to go wider here. So the idea here is to make the straightest line there. I'm bringing the car to the middle of the track and start rotating to the next left, which is long again, so I'm staying on the inside of the track, fully on the curb. As you can see on the photo, almost half of the car is on the curb, so you go as deep as you can. It's unloaded side of the car, so it doesn't matter that the curb here is a little bit bumpy. The next turn is somewhat different from the previous one, because you have to prioritize it. We have quite long straight after that. So my entry point to the right is from here, from the maximum left of the road. So after this left turn, I'm keeping the car on the left as much as I can, almost on the grass. Almost, yeah, you have to be following this line here. The entry point will be here from the curb, from the beginning of the curb. Theoretically, and sometimes I can do it if I'm precise enough, you can go almost flat out this turn. So you start adding the throttle from here, and here you go almost flat out. You can cut a little bit more here, but again the car will jump and it will be pushed out, so be careful with that. I'm going here flat out, almost flat out. The tires are not in the perfect condition, so I'm lifting maybe slightly. Of course, you use all widths of the track, including the green patch. If you did this turn fast enough, let's say, the next one can be a little bit tricky, because the track here goes a little bit up, so the car might try to drift a little bit with the rear axle, and the speed here is pretty fast, 200 to 20 maybe, so be careful with that. You don't want to go sideways here. Just be as smooth as possible with your steering here, so precise, yeah. And then we go to two last turns of the track. Of course, we brake as much to the left as we can. The only thing, I'm not using full width of this blue patch, because it's difficult to go here to the left, because you have either turn from the left and then immediately to the right, which makes your corner tighter, or you have to cut through the grass, which is not nice as well. So I don't like both of these ideas, so I'm trying to go smooth here, but not to the full width. Then we go to the apex. As you can see, I missed the apex a little bit, and we can see immediately that I'm losing the time because of that, unfortunately, so I could be a little bit better during this lap, but yeah, okay. The problem with this part of the track is that it's going up. This turn and the next one is going up, and because of that, the rear of the car will start to slide after the apex. You can see, yeah, I'm correcting the steering wheel because the rear axle is starting to slide. So you have to be careful with that. Bring the car to the apex, and then you have to be very, very smooth with your throttle. Of course, you can use full width of the track here. Don't go over the edge, because there is almost nothing there. You just put your tire here, yeah, straight on the left side of the curb. Of course, you use full width of the curb as an entry point. Entry point is somewhere here. You go to the inside pretty easily. Because this track, it continues to go up here, yeah, it goes up, and after that it continues to go up. So on the entry part of the turn, you can actually lift a little bit later, because the car will be understeering here slightly. So, and you will have a lot of grip here, more than usual. So you can lift not like on the entry point, you can lift a little bit later. So I'm lifting here, yeah. Then I'm rotating the car and starting to add some throttle. And again, be careful with your rear axle. It it might start going to the side, to the outside, yeah? I'm going straight to the edge, and now I'm doing what I said not to do, is I'm now dancing on the edge of the curb. It's not a great idea, but yeah, sometimes you have to push it, and be careful with this place because we have the wall on the outside, so if you spin to the inside here, yeah, nothing good. Okay, this is basically it, and I think the lap times were quite decent because by the end of the event I managed to win Pro 4 class and the BMW class, which is really nice. So yeah, stay with me. Hopefully it will be more racing content next season. I really hope. But yeah, who knows? Stay tuned. See you there.